Welcome to Simon's Storytime. The Last Watch, an original short story by Xephos, as read by Honeydew, which is me. I'm Simon. Hi. Chapter 1. Stormwind, Eastern Kingdoms. Although the air held the sticky warmth of midsummer, rain fell heavily outside the city gates of Stormwind, drumming on the polished armor of the guardsmen like 1,000 tiny hammer blows. Squinting through the rain, the soldiers watched the black-clad figure continue his unnaturally steady stride towards the gates, and nervously flex their fingers around sword hilts. Scouts had observed the stranger's approach for a while now, and the city gates had been swung shut as a precaution. By size and shape, it was a man in blackened full-plate armor, but there was something amiss. Strapped to his arm was a rectangular shield so large and thick that it could have been cannibalized from a siege engine. Such a shield would have unbalanced even King Varian, but the stranger walked as casually as if he were naked. A mounted soldier wearing rain-slickened silver mail barked commands at the guards on the wall, then pulled down her visor and spurred swiftly out from the gates. She pulled up the charger 20 yards from the stranger, drew her sword with a thin ringing sound that echoed off the great stone walls. "Stop!" she commanded, "or I'll stop you." The man continued his steady pace. As the rainwater splashed and rolled over his dark armor, it slowly turned crimson, leaving his footprints stained blood red in his wake. Like his armor, the shield was also blackened, but there were dents and scratches that hinted at a different color underneath, white etched with blue. The mounted soldier grinned wickedly, as if she had been hoping for the stranger to disobey her, and was suddenly flanked by several other guardsmen, their swords and notched arrows pointing at the man. If he were aware of the threat, he showed no sign, continuing his steady pace. Then, just as the horseman opened her mouth to command the attack, the man dropped to one knee and bowed his helm. He then raised a blackened gauntlet into the air, holding a silk tabard that was stained, frayed, and rain-soaked. The horseman failed to stifle a gasp as she recognized the symbol on the tabard, a large blue key. The color had almost faded now. It was almost as grey as the miserable sky above them, but the symbol was unmistakable, and she knew what it meant. "By the light, what news?" she shouted, jumping down from the horse and grabbing at the man's shoulders. Brown-black flakes came away on her wet fingers, and she was dimly aware that the black coating was charred blood. "What news?" she pressed again, but the anxiety in her voice betrayed that she already knew the answer. "What news of Gilneas?" The stranger lifted his head, and the woman flinched back in sudden horror. Through his visor she could see that his eyes burned brightly with the terrible blue flames of the Lich King's power. "Gilneas is lost," said the Death Knight, in a voice that shook her to her bones.